Sir, good morning. Tell me your name, please.
Yes, good morning. My name is Domingo Choco Lopez.
All right, sir, this is case number 20MM611. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There is probable cause. I will appoint a public defender to represent you. Is there a witness for Mr. Choco Lopez? All right, I do not see a witness. Sir, you're not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. Your bond is going to be $500. You're not to possess or consume any alcohol. And I'm not going to revoke your out on bond cases at this time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, good morning. Tell me your name, please.
Jose Ortiz Cintrón.
This is case number 20MM5255. Sir, you were arrested for 2 counts of battery domestic violence. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there a witness for Mr. Cintron? I do not see a witness, sir. You are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or any firearms. Do you have any questions about the no contact order, sir?
No.
You also have 20 CT 4446. You were arrested for DUI. There's probable cause for that offense. I'll also appoint the public defender to represent you. And I'm going to place you on pretrial release in both cases. Thank you, sir. Good morning. Tell me your name, please.
Edgar Romero Santander.
Sir, this is case number 20MM339. You were arrested for battery. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there a witness for Mr. Romero? Mr. Romero, you're not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. Sir, do you have any questions about the no contact order? Thank you.
No, that's fine.
All right, sir, your bond will be set at $500. I also need to inform you that you do have an immigration hold at this time. Thank you. Sir, good morning. Tell me your name, please.
Miguel Armando Rodríguez Núñez.
Miguel Armando Rodríguez Núñez.
Sir, this is case number 20 CT 4447 and 20 CT 448. You were arrested for DUI with property damage and driving without a valid driver's license. There is probable cause for both of the offenses. I will appoint the public defender to represent you in both cases. Your bond on count 1 is $1,000. Your bond on count 2 is $100. Thank you, sir. I'm gonna set the Portuguese case to the side for now.
He had one more left, Your Honor.
Oh, who's that?
A Figueroa.
He was left off by mistake.
He was left off.
Okay, what type of case is it?
Out of county.
Okay. I don't have that in here because I don't have the second session paperwork. Do you have it on here? I can just read off one. So that's in the second session. Does anyone have that paperwork?
I only have the first appearance information sheet, if that would be helpful. That's all I have.
Can I see what you have, Ms. Judge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Oh. Is it just what, does it just say why he's here?
I believe so, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, well, we'll just have to call back the interpreter, I guess, in the second session and do that case. Because I don't have. No, it'll be just the same to call back.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Figueroa, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I do not have your paperwork. This case would typically be done in our second session, so I'm going to recall your case a little later this morning.
Okay.
All right.
All right, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Interpreter. We'll have to give you a call back.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, have a great day. Sir, good morning. Tell me your name, please. Sir,
Brian Douglas George.
tell me your name.
Brian George.
Come close to the speaker.
Brian George.
Yes.
Oh, thank you, Joe. That's Mr. Figueroa's paperwork. What about Kenny Augusti and Ryan Clapp?
Augusti is medical, Your Honor.
Okay.
Clapp is mental health.
Okay. So in 20 CF 8670, that's Kenny Augusti, it looks to me like the state was given an additional 24 hours to submit a supplement as it relates to count 1.
Yes, Your Honor, and let me check one more time. As of my leaving my office to come to court, I did not have anything additional.
Okay.
And, Your Honor, what the state would ask the court is to find possession of cocaine, just plain possession of cocaine, F3.
Okay.
And the state would ask that the court find count 2, in which probable cause was found, as the primary, and set count 1 at the $150 subsidiary, and set bond as to count 2, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Matos, did you want to be heard?
No, yeah.
All right. So I'll set, I'll find probable cause for possession of cocaine as to count 1. Bond will be $150. Count 2, possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver will be the primary. And I'll set bond at $2,500 on that count. And then it looks to me like Judge Morgan already revoked the out on bond cases.
Yes, Your Honor.
14239.
Yes, he did.
Okay. All right. So that's all that needs to be done on that case.
And the other bonds stay the same, right?
Right.
Your Honor, can I have the case number on Kenny August? On the revoked, I'm sorry.
20 CF 8670. And then Mr. Clapp was reset for mental health. Mr. Matos, your office is appointed. Do you want to waive his appearance?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, he was arrested in 20 MM 334 for trespassing. There is probable cause. I'm going to release him on his own recognizance at this time, and he is not to return to the Orange County Library downtown.
Okay.
Mr. George, thank you.
No problem,
Good
ma'am.
morning again. You are here in 19 CF 11121. You were arrested for battery, domestic violence, by strangulation. Looks like Judge Morgan already found probable cause, set bond at $2,500. You're not to have any contact with the victim. And you also have a violation of probation for battery. And in that case, sir, your bond is set at none. You will see Judge Whitehead on the violation of probation in the next 7 to 10 days.
Yeah,
And I'll
because
appoint the
that,
public defender to represent you.
yeah, that was, the reason why there was a technical is because I was in the hospital
So,
and,
Mr. George, listen, I'm sure you have an explanation, but that's something you need to share with your lawyer,
okay.
and they'll be able to help you with that, sir.
All right, when should I expect that? If I see you or Whitehead in 7 to 10 days, when should I expect to see my lawyer?
They're present in the courtroom. I'm sure they're going to notify the lawyer who's representing you today, and they should be out to see you shortly.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Good morning, sir. Your name?
James Ross.
All right, Mr. Ross. How about Mr. Grant?
Your Honor, Grant is on one list, and on the earlier list, he's not on. If you need him, we can call him, and,
I'm just not sure why he was on the reset list, because I see that Judge Morgan set bond, set conditions. And I don't know why it's reset. So Mr. Grant is not coming to court?
he wasn't on the earlier list when we printed it. He only showed up at on the 7:30 list. We can,
I don't need to see Mr. Grant. I'm not sure why the public defender, it looks like the public defender wanted it to be reset. Do you know why?
Your Honor, I got this Sarah Preston from the Public Defender's Office. I just see the detainer of bond and PTR. I'm wondering if he did not qualify for PTR, and that's why it was set that we needed to delete PTR, else it couldn't get released or something, because sometimes that creates an issue.
Sure, but on the face sheet, it says qualifies for PTR, yes. That was printed today.
So maybe he should be released on PTR.
Yeah, he did. Judge Morgan put 2,500 plus PTR. So, okay, I'm just, again, I'm not sure why it was reset. If there's something that needs to be done or a motion needs to be filed, that can happen, but I'm just gonna not take any action on this case today. All the conditions have been reset, have been set, and bond was set.
Your Honor, there's a hold,
That's a bond and PTR. That's a bond and PTR.
so he can't be released.
He has to post bond first, and then we'll complete our
Okay,
PTR part.
so maybe that's why, maybe they wanted the bond to be deleted, so he could be released PTR because he qualifies. Due to lack of criminal history and the fact he qualifies.
Checking my notes now.
But that wouldn't make sense to me because the PD would have had to have requested in front of Judge Morgan that they wanted it reset. So Judge Morgan addressed the bond. I'm not gonna readdress the bond today. I'm just gonna leave everything as it was set.
We said it was reset to public defender.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna leave it as is. I don't have enough information to make any changes. Are you Mr. Ross?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. You are here in 20 MM 597. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there a witness here for Mr. Ross? Sir, you are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence, and you're not to possess any weapons or firearms, sir.
Yes, sir.
And Your Honor, may the state have that case number again?
20 MM 597.
And does the court have, the state has 20 MM 5104.
No.
Does the court have that as
No.
well?
Oh, wait. So. So I have, the arrest affidavit is 20 MM 5104, but the reset sheet that I have is 20 MM 597.
You said 51048.
AO is the arrest affidavit.
I think that one was deleted. For whatever reason, it should have been in
597.
Ocoee instead of in Orange
Orlando.
County, so. Because that's not coming up in our system either. the
You don't have the
51.
5104?
So that one.
Can you pull up 20 MM 597 AW?
And Your Honor, on my reset first appearance, it's the 5104.
The clerk has just indicated to me that the 5104 does not exist in their system. It was a mistake, I think, that it wasn't supposed to be in Orange County. Charlene, will you pull that complaint? And then go into the- Yes, so the complaint that I'm looking at that's filed in 20 MM 597 AW previously had the 20 MM 5104 and it's scratched out. And let me go to page 2. And it's the same affidavit as the prior case. So the correct case is 20 MM 597 AW. All right, Mr. Ross, we've got that cleared up. As I stated, you're not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence.
Yes,
You are
ma'am.
not to possess any weapons or firearms, sir. If you need a one-time return to get your things, you may do so with the police.
I'll do that tonight with the police.
And I'm gonna set your bond at $500, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Thomas, good morning.
Good morning.
This is 20 CF 8686. You were arrested for aggravated assault, domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. It appears that there is a witness here, Mr. Thomas.
I didn't.
Good morning. Good morning. Tell me your name, please.
Priscilla Henna.
All right, ma'am, you're gonna have to speak right into the microphone because it's very hard to hear, plus we have the masks. Thank you. Tell me your name again.
My name is Casita Henna.
All right, ma'am. Could you please raise your right hand to be sworn in?
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Ms. Henham, do you want to have contact with Mr. Thomas?
No.
No, ma'am. Thank you. Mr. Thomas, you are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. You may have a one-time return with law enforcement if you need it. Do you have any questions, sir, about the no contact order?
No question, Your Honor.
All right, sir. And I'm going to place you on pretrial release with a $1,000 bond as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Thank you, ma'am. Oh, okay. That's okay. Sir, good morning. Tell me your name, please.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Raldi Batista.
Mr. Batista, you are here in case number 20MM5241. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your bond is going to be $500. Do you have any questions about the no contact order?
No, ma'am.
No?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, your name?
Marcus Bradley.
Mr. Bradley, you're here in 20MM 608. You were arrested for battery dating violence. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Ma'am, good morning.
Good morning.
Tell me your name, please.
Ty Turner.
Ms. Turner, could you please raise your right hand to be sworn in? And can I ask any other witness that is going to testify today to please stand and raise your right hand to be sworn in by the clerk? Are there any other witnesses present? Okay, thank you. Please stand and raise your right hand.
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. And the gallery can be seated. Thank you. All right, Ms. Turner, did you want to have contact with Mr. Bradley?
Yes.
Are you afraid of him?
No.
All right. And you live together, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you have any children together?
No.
Are there any children in the home?
No.
All right, ma'am. Ms. Bush, did you have any questions for Ms. Turner?
Hi, Miss Turner. How long have you been in a relationship with Mr. Bradley?
About 7 months.
7 years?
7 months.
7 months. Over the course of those 7 months, have there been any other instances of violence in your relationship?
No.
And if something like this incident were to occur again, and if you felt threatened, would you be comfortable calling law enforcement?
Yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Matos, any questions?
No questions from the defense, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Bradley, you are not to have any hostile contact with Ms. Turner. Do you understand what that means?
Yes, ma'am.
You're also not to possess any weapons or firearms. I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time, sir.
Did that mean I'll be released?
Yes, you will, today.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Turner. Good morning, your name?
Wilfredo Gallardo.
Mr. Gallardo, this is 20MM 5249. You were arrested for battery domestic violence and assault domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with the victims. You are to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. You may have a one-time return with law enforcement to get your things if necessary. Mr. Gallardo, do you have any questions about the no contact order?
No, ma'am.
All right, sir, I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. Tell me your name.
Matthew Hanna.
Mr. Hanna, this is 20MM 5253. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There's probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. If you need to return to the home one time with law enforcement to get your things, you may.
Okay.
Do you have any questions, sir, about the no contact order?
No, I just wanted to know, since I don't have money, if I could do PTR because I don't have anybody to bail me out.
Yes, sir, you do qualify for pretrial release, and I will place you on that program at this time.
Thank you, ma'am, so much.
You're welcome, sir. Sir, good morning. Your name?
James Horn.
Mr. Horn, this is 20MM 338. You were arrested for battery dating violence. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with the victim. You're to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. You're also not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about the no contact order?
No, ma'am.
Your bond is going to be $1,000, sir. Thank you. Good morning. Your name?
Winston Jones.
Mr. Jones, this is 20 MM 5243. You were arrested for battery, domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Ma'am, good morning.
Good morning.
Tell me your name.
Yolanda Mobley.
Pardon me?
Yolanda Mobley.
All right, ma'am. Did you want to have contact with Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Are you afraid of Mr. Jones?
No.
How long have you known him?
3 years.
And is it correct that Mr. Jones is visiting from Georgia?
Yes.
Okay. And how long have you been in a relationship with Mr. Jones?
3 years.
You live here in Orlando?
No.
You live in Georgia as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So y'all were just here on vacation?
Yes.
I see. Do you have any children together?
No.
Any children that reside with you all?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have any concerns about their safety if I were to allow contact between the two of you?
No.
Have there been any instances of violence in the past between the two of you?
No.
Ms. Bush, do you have any questions?
Yes, Ms. Mobley. You said you've been with him for 3 years.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know of, out of Georgia, of any domestic relations incidents that have occurred? I just want to be sure that they didn't occur with you.
Oh, no.
Has law enforcement been called for any disturbances in your relationship?
No.
If something like this incident were to occur again, would you be comfortable calling law enforcement?
Yes.
All right. I have no further questions. Thank you, ma'am.
And ma'am, your last name is Mobley, Mobley, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, thank you. Can I have him place on PTR? He can call in from where he is? Okay. So, Mr. Jones, at this time, I'm going to order that you are not to have any hostile contact with Miss Mobley. Do you understand what that means?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You're also not to possess any weapons or firearms. I've appointed the public defender to represent you. If the state of Florida pursues these charges, sir, you will have to return to the state of Florida to resolve the case. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you don't return, a warrant will be issued for your arrest. At this time, I'm going to place you on pretrial release. You'll need to check in with them regarding the status of your case and the conditions of your release. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ms. Mobley. Sir, good morning. Your name?
Greg Luring.
Mr. Lurig, this is 20MM 181. You were arrested for battery. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Ma'am, good morning. Your name?
Julie Picard Luring.
Excuse me?
Julie Luring.
All right, and that's Luhring?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Luring, did you want to have contact with Mr. Lurig?
Yes, he's my husband.
Are you afraid of him?
No, not at all.
Okay. Do you have children together?
No, we don't.
Are there any children in the home?
No, there's not.
Have there been any instances of violence between the two of you in the past?
No.
And you don't have any concerns about your safety if I were to allow contact between the two of you?
No, I don't.
Ms. Bush, any questions?
Ms. Luring, if something like this were to happen again, and you felt that your safety was threatened, would you be comfortable calling law enforcement?
No problem.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Matos?
No questions from the defense, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Luring, you are not to have any hostile contact with your wife. Do you understand what that means?
Yes.
You are also not to possess any weapons or firearms, sir. And at this time, I will place you on pretrial release. Thank you. Good morning. Your name?
Rodriguez?
Are you Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. This is 20MM 5238. You were arrested for battery, domestic violence. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms, sir. Do you have any questions about the no contact order?
No, I don't, ma'am.
All right. I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time. Good morning. Your name?
Bertson Taneas.
Mr. Taneas, this is 20MM 5239. You were arrested for battery, domestic violence. There's probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you, sir. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You may return one time with law enforcement to get your things. You are not to possess any weapons or any firearms. And your bond is $500, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
And Your Honor, was that Mr. Tennis?
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Good morning. Your name?
Jordan?
Are you Mr. Walker?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, this is 20MM 5254. You were arrested for assault, domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Are you Mr. Weber?
Yes, I am.
All right, Mr. Weber, do you want to have contact with Mr. Walker?
No, we do not.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Mr. Walker, you are not to have any contact with Mr. Weber, your stepfather. You are to maintain a separate residence. If you need to return to the home one time with law enforcement to get your things, you may. You need to call them to arrange that before you go. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. You are also not to possess or consume any alcohol or controlled substances without a valid prescription. Your bond, sir, is going to be $500.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Mr. Weber, anything else?
Yes, I'd like to say that we are, I don't know if this is the place, but we're very concerned about Jordan's violence. And even though you tell Jordan what you told him, he will not obey by those rules. Jordan will continue to drink. He does have a gun that he will be able to get from the sheriff's department when he gets released that we took from him last night. We do believe that Jordan, when Jordan drinks, he becomes so violent that if Jordan had the gun last night, there's a good chance all of us would be dead. This is not a simple case of just assault and battery or domestic violence. This is an ongoing issue with Jordan, and Jordan will not obey your rules. And we have called the sheriff's department on numerous times. We are extremely concerned about Jordan's violence, what he will do. You will not stop Jordan. If Jordan starts drinking, he will come back to the house. He will break into the house and attack us like he has done before. This is an issue of we are scared of Jordan. We took the gun from Jordan and we gave it to the sheriff's department last night. When he gets released, they informed him he'd go get that gun. He will return. And I do believe that if Jordan's drinking, not only will he kill all of us, but he'll kill his girlfriend.
Okay.
This is an instance where It's a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde instance. Jordan's the nicest person in the world when he's sober, but when Jordan starts drinking, it's just all over.
Okay.
This is not the first time we have called the sheriff's department and dealt with Jordan. My wife is extremely upset because it's her son, of course, and we're dealing with a granddaughter. But the violence has escalated tremendously this year. 2 months ago, we had an incident where he actually just practically destroyed the house. I was not there, but the sheriff's department was there twice, and and his girlfriend came and got him. This time, like I said, it was the same issue. Jordan was drinking. I don't know if you show the records, but Jordan has been in jail before for breaking and attacking us. So Jordan is more than capable of physical violence.
So, Mr. Weber, I just want to explain a couple of things. Just a second, Mr. Walker. Your stepdad has the right to be heard, and I'm going to explain a couple things to you that might be able to help you out,
And I
sir.
appreciate that.
I understand.
We are very concerned that you release Jordan. We are trying to have Jordan move somewhere, but we are concerned that Jordan will re-enter the picture and things will get extremely violent.
So, Mr. Weber, I need to explain a couple of things to you so
Yes.
that you might help you understand. Okay, so first of all, with respect to releasing Jordan, I'm required to set a bond for him.
I
Okay,
understand.
By law, per the Florida Constitution, he's entitled to a bond. So with respect to that, I have to give him a bond.
I understand.
Okay. With respect to the conditions of release, I did order that he's not to possess or consume any alcohol or controlled substances. I'm going to add that he's going to be tested through pretrial release. So if he's to post his bond, he's going to be required to come down to the pretrial release center, and he's going to have to be tested for drugs and alcohol. If he's to test positive, I will be notified of that, and it'll be a violation of the conditions of his release, and his bond could be revoked. With respect to the weapon, I've now ordered that he's not to possess any weapons or firearms. So the sheriff's department will not release that firearm to him. He's not allowed to have that or any weapon or firearm at all.
Thank you.
So that part, will be taken care of. In terms of your safety or your concern, there's two things you can do. You can go down to the courthouse downtown, and I believe it's on the 3rd floor, and you can file for an injunction. Now, I understand that it's a piece of paper, right, and that you're concerned about him violating it, but it is another tool that you have in order to be able to protect yourself, and if he doesn't follow the rules, there's a consequence to that, okay? And that's a civil issue, but it can also be a criminal issue once the violation or once the injunction has been served. You can also go and file for a petition with respect to the firearms in general, where a judge can issue an order that does not allow him to have a firearm based upon the information that you potentially provide. So those are some things that you can do. I understand that you and your family are very concerned, and I'm glad that you came here today to express that. It does show how much you care about your son and that you're trying to, help him in any way that you can. What I've explained to you is the tools that I have today to be able to try to help you and to try to explain and understand. And so, that's what I can do to help you today.
Yes, I understand, and thank you for hearing me out. That's all I asked.
Absolutely, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Weber.
Okay. Are we done?
We are, unless there's something else.
I would just like to emphasize this, that we have tried for years to help Jordan, but, when he goes into that cycle, we just can't take any more.
Sure.
My wife and I are just ripped to shreds.
Right.
The whole house is just in disarray. And then when Jordan, the next day, is all of a sudden, oh my God, what did I do? But when we're living the nightmare for however long it takes for the sheriff's department to get there, and then when they leave and he comes back, my family is just an emotional roller coaster with this. We just can't take any more.
I'm leaving.
There
you go.
Mr. Walker,
Yes, ma'am.
I thought you were saying something.
I'm trying to tell him I'm leaving. I'm not. I'm done with him.
Okay. Well, Mr. Walker, I hope that this can get worked out and that you can
Nobody
follow
touched
these
anybody.
conditions.
He talks.
All right, Mr. Weber, thank you very much.
Thank you.
There you.
You're welcome. Good morning, sir. Your name?
Good morning, Your Honor. Michael Weir.
Mr. Weir, this is 20 M180. You were arrested for battery, criminal mischief, and resisting officer without violence. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you.
Yes, Your
You are
Honor.
not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You may return one time with law enforcement to get your things if you need to do so. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. Bond on count 1 is 500. Bond on count 2 is 100. Bond on count 3 is 100. Mr. Weir, do you have any questions, sir, about the no contact order?
Your Honor, I do not have a question on that.
Okay.
I mean, just no contact, that's fine. And we don't reside at the same residence.
Okay.
There's one problem, I'm not able to make a bond, and I've never missed a court date. And I would lose my job. I've been working there for about 1.5 years at the Coop. I would beg the court, I'd beg you, Your Honor, if perhaps I could be released on an ROR or pretrial release terms.
Why doesn't he qualify for pretrial?
History of VOPs and FTAs. And our contact, and he has an accident warrant out of Arizona.
I can court order him though, correct? Yeah. Okay, Mr. Weir, I am going to place you on pretrials. Mr. Weir has
Yes, Your Honor.
2 failure to appears, the last one being in 2001. Most of he has only one felony conviction, then he has misdemeanor convictions. I think that based on his face sheet and the charge in this case, that he is a candidate for pretrial release. Mr. Weir,
Yes, Your Honor.
do you have any questions about anything that I've ordered?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir. Good morning, your name?
Demetria Wright.
Miss Wright, you're here in 20 MM 609. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You're to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or any firearms.
Yes, ma'am.
Your bond is $500. Do you have any questions about the no contact order?
No, here's the thing about it. My grandmother.
Ms. Wright,
Yes.
as long as it's not about the facts, you can proceed with the questions. But if it's about the facts of your case, please keep it for your public defender.
Yes, about my case. Well,
Okay, so,
she said
Ms. Wright,
she's not pressing charges or anything like that.
I understand, ma'am. So listen, that's something you're going to have to talk to your lawyer about, okay? And they'll be able to assist you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, your name?
Taquasia Austin.
What is it?
Taquasia Austin.
I was looking for Joseph Ferreira. Or Grant Giroux. Grant Giroux bonded. Thank you. All right. And then what about Ferreira? Couldn't have bonded because there's a fad.
I got him right here, Your Honor.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
You're Joseph Ferreira?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ferreira, you were arrested for driving with a suspended driver's license in 20 CT 4444. There is probable cause, and I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Ms. Bush, did you have his driving record? Did you want to make an offer?
Your Honor, if I may have just a moment to look at his record.
Sure.
Do you got my? Would you mind if I if I can say anything?
Well, Mr. Ferreira, I don't want you to say anything about the facts of your case, okay?
No, it's not about the case.
Okay, do you have a question?
Well, I was just trying to notify you guys that I'm actually have a lawyer upon because I have to go to court next month. That's why I have a hold. But I was trying to notify you guys that I have a lawyer upon. I have to get my I will have my license fixed by next month before I go to my next court date, and I have a lawyer upon it that's handling everything.
Okay.
So if that's the case and he wants to get his license, Your Honor, the state will not convey an offer.
All right, who's representing you, Mr. Ferreira?
It's my lawyer. He's in Broward County. I can't. Neil. I'm sorry, Neil. I do not remember the last name.
All right. Yeah, I see your court date in Osceola County is August 13th.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you're saying you're going to have your license
Yes.
for that court date?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right, Mr. Ferreira, I'm going to release you today on your own recognizance so that you can use that money that you would post for bond for your driver's license.
Yes, ma'am.
And you are not to drive without a valid driver's license. Do you understand?
Yes. Yes.
Because Mr. Ferreira, if you come back through here, I would venture to bet that your bond's going to get revoked.
No, I totally understand.
You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And you'll be waiting here until your court date.
No, I do not want that to happen. So I totally
All right, sir.
understand.
Thank you. No.
The next on the list is R.C. Christina Medical.
All right, so this is a 20 MM 4288. There's a written plea of not guilty filed. I'm not sure why we have the written pleas of not guilty that are all in here. I don't think we do, because when the cases are called, with a lawyer files a written plea of not guilty and the case is a downtown case, they don't call them an arraignment to set the court date. The clerk just issues it and it's entered, and then the lawyers are given a notice of it, right? That's what I recall. Oh, that's okay.
I think it's the same in courtroom 3 as well, so I think we do the same process. For the
Okay.
nominees. That waives those as well.
So what she's saying is in courtroom 3, like for the VOPs, if the lawyer files a written plea of not guilty and waiver of arraignment, those folks don't get taken to courtroom 3 either. So they can.
And she's on probation anyway.
Oh, because they canceled all these? Okay.
Yeah, they're not, people are not here, because that canceling comes from regular court. I thought we just want to announce
I see. Okay, I don't think we even need to do that, though. I think that it just is something that happens administratively within your
Well, I'll
office.
let everybody else know that that's the process. Here. And we'll just reassign them and give them.
Right, when the notice comes in, you're right, that's what I imagine would happen, right? The notice comes in and then they're just reassigned, and then they're given notice to the offices.
Okay.
The only issue is sometimes it comes super quick, so maybe it doesn't get done before the court date, so, it needs to happen today.
Right, if that were, she said, sometimes if the notice doesn't get filed in time, like there's a lapse, so that could happen, sure.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I don't think, that we need to even bring them up here. I think they can just be set administratively. I wasn't being critical either, so don't.
No, I didn't.
Okay. But we'll do it this way today. So this is 20 MM 4288. The Public Defender's Office filed a written plea of not guilty and waiver of arraignment. And so she's A. So it's PTC is August 18th at 9:30 a.m., courtroom 9C, that's Division 80. Are you Miss Austin?
Yeah.
Miss Austin, this is 20 MM 4349. This is your arraignment for the offense of possession of drug paraphernalia.
Yes, ma'am.
You are represented by the public defender. Ms. Bush, was there an offer for Miss Austin?
Yes, Your Honor. It's an adjudication of guilt, 38 days Orange County Jail, 38 days credit time served, and court costs.
Miss Austin, did you want to accept the offer?
Yes, it's time, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Okay. Did you have an opportunity to read the plea form before court this morning?
Yes, I did.
Do you have any questions about any of the rights that you are giving up?
No, ma'am.
Are you on probation?
For my FTA cases, that's what I'm here to sign my other plea for as well.
You're currently on probation?
No, I'm talking about for being here now. Not right.
I didn't show her.
I'm not on probation, but my plea for my FTA was for you guys to put me on probation. For my FTA.
Not in this case. The offer for this case is credit time served.
Okay, yeah.
But you're not on probation in any other case?
No.
Okay. And do you understand, if you are not a U.S. citizen, that this plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would affect your ability to understand what's happening in court today?
No, ma'am.
Ma'am, I will accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 38 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 38 days time served. You will have to pay court costs, which will be due by July 20th of 2021. You have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wait, I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
Am I being released today?
If you have no other holds.
No, I don't.
Does she have anything else holding her? She has what?
St. Johns County detainer.
You
She has bonds on those.
There is bonds on it?
Yeah, the FTA for grand theft is $2,500. And the FTA for the paraphernalia is $500.
I was told I had a plea for St. Johns County for 2 years probation. That's what.
You may. So what's going to happen is you're going to see me tomorrow because they're going to serve you with the warrants, I think, after today because your local charges have been resolved.
Okay.
And you'll see me tomorrow on the St. Johns County cases.
Okay, so I will not be getting released today.
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right, this is Gregory Brown, 20 MM 3923. The Public Defender's Office filed a written plea of not guilty and waiver of arraignment. This is a Division 80 case. Pre-trial conference is going to be August 18th at 9:30 a.m. in courtroom 9C. Teron Burks.
He's medical, Your Honor.
All right. The Public Defender's Office has been appointed. Mr. Matos, do you want to waive his appearance?
Your Honor, is he medical for 2 weeks or would he be released tomorrow? Is that it?
I'm not sure. Do we have any indication how long Mr. Burks is going to be in medical?
It's going to be a while, Your Honor.
Then waiver, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Burks is going to be in the rotation division. Pre-trial conference is August 20th at 9 a.m. in courtroom 9B. It's Division 62.
Mark Dow is out. He's medical, Your Honor.
All right. There is a written plea of not guilty and waiver of arraignment in 20 MM 4538. That's Division 50, pretrial conference, August 10th at 2:30 p.m. in courtroom 7C.
Clifford Gray, medical.
And is that going to be a long time as well?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Matos, do you want to waive that appearance?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that is going to be in Division Gray. 80. Pretrial conference, August 18th at 9:30 a.m., courtroom 9C. Are you Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris, this is 20 MM 3996, your arraignment for the offense of trespass on property or conveyance. You are represented by the public defender. Was there an offer conveyed to Mr. Harris?
Yes, Your Honor. It was conveyed by downtown. I don't know what the credit time served is, but it's an adjudication credit time served. Cost of investigation to the Apopka Police Department in the amount of $107.25. No return to 68 East Main Street in Apopka, and court costs.
All right. Mr. Harris, the offer today is an adjudication of guilt, 50 days in the Orange County Jail with 50 days credit time served. You have to pay cost of investigation to the Apopka Police Department, $107.25, and you're not to return to the scene. Do you want to accept the offer?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Did you have an opportunity to read the plea form?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about any of the rights on the form?
No, ma'am.
Are you on probation?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand if you are not a U.S. citizen that this plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would affect your ability to understand what's happening in court today?
No, ma'am.
All right, sir, I'll accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 50 days in the Orange County Jail. You have credit for 50 days time served. You will have to pay cost of investigation to the Apopka Police Department in the amount of $107.25. You're not to return to 68 East Main Street.
Put on the put on.
Mr. Harris, are you paying attention?
Yes, ma'am.
What are you trying to figure out?
I was trying to tell him to write down $107 down on there.
Mr. Harris, it will all be in your paperwork, sir.
Oh, okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Okay, you'll receive a copy of it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Next on the list, Your Honor, Stephen Johnson, medical.
All right, that's 20 MM 5164. The Public Defender's Office filed a written plea of not guilty and waiver of arraignment. This is a Division 50 case. Pretrial conference is August 10th at 2:30 p.m., courtroom 7C.
Mark Jones, medical.
And will his be a long period as well?
Yes.
Mr. Matos, you want to waive the appearance?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And that's 20 MM 5160. Mr. Jones is being arraigned for trespass in a structure and criminal mischief. He is also going to be in Division 80, pretrial conference, August 18th at 9:30 a.m., courtroom 9C.
And Your Honor, is that C as in Charlie?
That's it. Yes.
Thank you.
And this is 20 MM 4479, Gregory Lane. The Public Defender's Office filed a written plea of not guilty and waiver of arraignment. This is a Division 50 case. Pretrial conference is August 10th at 2:30 p.m., courtroom 7C. This is 20 MM 5159. Are you Mr. Luck?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Luck, this is your arraignment for the offense of resisting officer without violence. It looks like there's a related felony matter, 20 CF 4923. Ms. Custon, I see you standing there. Are you instructing Mr. Luck to not resolve his case today?
Your Honor, I didn't see that. I only see he's being held on 2 misdemeanors. Let me just check. I assume it's related.
It was transferred to the misdemeanor.
I was just told by the clerk that the felony was transferred to the misdemeanor.
So, so it's a trespass from no valid driver's license and a resisting without violence, correct? I have the case number on the misdemeanor as well.
All right. For Mr. Luck today, I just have 20 MM 5159.
The state attorney offered on 2020 CT 265780 a global as well.
Okay.
As long as there is no related felony, which I didn't see one, he did want to accept the 120-day offer.
Okay, I'm being told by Ms. Bush that there's no related felony.
There is no related felony, Your Honor. And if the court wishes for the state to put the offer on the record for both cases.
Sure, thank you.
In 2020 MM 5159AO, the offer is an adjudication of guilt, 120 days Orange County Jail, 82 days credit time served, cost of investigation to the Orlando Police Department in the amount of $152.55 and court costs. To run concurrent with that, in 2020 CT 2657AO, there's an adjudication of guilt, 2 days Orange County Jail, 2 days credit time served, don't drive without a valid driver's license, and court costs.
All right. Mr. Luck, that's the offer you'd like to accept?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Did you have an opportunity to read the plea form before court?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have any questions about any of the rights that you're giving up?
No, ma'am.
Are you on probation?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand if you are not a U.S. citizen that this plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would affect your ability to understand what's happening in court today?
No, ma'am.
All right, sir. In 20 MM 5159, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 120 days in the Orange County Jail. You have credit for 82 days time served. You have to pay cost of investigation to the Orlando Police Department in the amount of $152.55, along with court costs. And then in 20 CT 2657, I will adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in jail with credit for 2 days time served. Those sentences are to run concurrent to one another. You will have to pay court costs in each case. Those will be due by July 20th of 2021. You have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And then 20 MM 4058 is Rasham Maksudur. The Public Defender's Office filed a written plea of not guilty and waiver of arraignment. I think Rahman is the last name.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so that's going to be in Division 83. Pretrial conference is August 3rd at 8 a.m., courtroom 6C. And then we have Tyrone Rivers, 20 MM 3846. This is a Division 80 case. The public defender filed a written plea of not guilty and waiver of arraignment. And that is going to be Division 80 pretrial conference, August 18th at 9:30 a.m., courtroom 9C. Good morning, Mr. Lamar. How are you today, sir?
Well,
You doing okay?
yes, ma'am.
All right, so Ms. Bush, did you want to be heard on the motion?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, this 20 MM 4685.
And, Your Honor, the state would ask the court, since this was a motion that was ROR or in the alternative, for the court to adopt findings. Since the evaluations, both the evaluations are from 2018, the state would ask the court not to rule on the motion to adopt findings of incompetence, as the evaluations are stale. The state has no objection to the ROR at this time, and the state would ask that defense counsel in the trial division, an order for new evaluations be entered. But at this time, the state would ask the court not to rule on the issue of competency.
Okay. Mr. Machos, did you want to be heard?
Your Honor, it's Ari Custa on behalf of Mr. Lamar. I'm sorry.
Sure, go ahead.
In this case, we ask the court find Mr. Lamar incompetent. He's been found incompetent by 3 other judges within the past few months, the most recent of which being on July 14th of this month by Judge Jewett. Judge McGinnis and Judge Cameron have also found him incompetent. One of the evaluations attached states that Mr. Lamar has been evaluated multiple times, and they believe that his competence is likely permanent, and the other one says he's likely not restorable. We argue that it's a waste of resources to get him evaluated again, and additionally, we would have definitely filed this in a division if this was filed yet. It hasn't been filed. The case, I believe, started in June 28th, I want to say. I'm sorry, I left my paperwork in the other courtroom, but and the state hasn't filed, or else we would have gone there and requested the judge in, if there will be a trial division, to find him incompetent. We ask he be found incompetent now, and we can submit an order for a court-ordered evaluation. And also, I saw that the order didn't have conditional release requirements on it. We can send an updated order that is consistent with the one from Judge Jewett that was just signed last week, if that is giving you pause as to the conditional release and finding him incompetent. So at this time, we ask he be found incompetent. It's a waste of time to just keep putting this off, and him be released on conditional release.
Okay. So I don't know, in the cases that were just cited where the judges entered new orders, I don't know if the state stipulated in those cases or not. I don't know that I can make a finding without having an evidentiary hearing if the state is objecting to the use of the evaluations. So that's something that I'm going to look into. I just don't think that I can do that. And like I said, I don't know if in those cases, if the states stipulated and then the judges were able to just rely on the reports that were submitted that are old. The one that is attached to the motion that I've reviewed is dated February 13th of 2018. But I do note that Dr. Danziger did say that he does not believe that there's a reasonable probability of competency restoration. But having said all that, I'm not going to make a finding on competency today, but I will release Mr. Lamar on his own recognizance, subject to the traditional conditional release conditions. So, Ms. Custon, if you would just provide me an order, it's fine if it's the similar order that was entered in Judge Jewett's case with the conditions that he was released on. But it would just be a release on his own recognizance.
Okay, I'll get that to you today.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Sir, good morning. Your name?
God bless you, Your Honor. My name is Armando Alejandro Montalvo.
All right, sir.
Whatever
This is 20 MM 4598. This is defense motion for release on own recognizance.
Your Honor, this is Ari Custon on behalf of Mr. Montalvo. The attorney who filed this motion didn't give me any information on it. I did review it, and I spoke to Mr. Montalvo in the back. But before going forward with it, I see he has some revoked felony cases. I just want to, I know, could we reset this, Your Honor, just so I make sure that I understand why the public defender wanted this?
Sure, and in reviewing the motion, I see that there was no objection from the state, so this is one that could be reviewed in chambers. So if you just want to send an email to Jill and to Ms. Bush, letting her know if you're going to reset it.
Okay, thank you, Your
And
Honor.
I can I can review it in chambers.
Your Honor, may I say something? Is there any way I could just resolve this case today? I've been in jail for about 30 days on it, and I just want to get it done and over with, Your Honor. Like, I will never, ever return back to this place ever again.
Ms. Bush, just a second, Mr. Montalvo. Has an information been filed?
Your Honor, if I may have just a moment to.
Sure.
And if there's any way I can get on a conditional release or...
There has not been an information filed, Your Honor.
All right, so Mr. Montalvo, with respect to this case, this misdemeanor case, I cannot resolve it today because the state has not filed an information, so they haven't formally charged you with a crime. In order for me to take a plea on the case, they would have to do that. And then your lawyer's gonna look into a bond issue, and then she's going to let me know if she wants the court to take any action on this motion or not.
Is there any way if I can try to get a bond reinstatement or a conditional release plan? I will abide with whatever the courts ask of me.
So, Mr. Montalvo, that's also something you're gonna need to talk to your lawyer about, and those motions would need to be filed in the division where the cases are being heard, not in this court.
I haven't heard anything from the court since that case has been with the public defender's office that has been assigned to. I've never heard, nobody's talked to me about the case or the motions in that case. I've been sitting in jail for about going on 30 days now, and
Okay.
nobody has talked to me about the case.
I'll make sure of that, Your Honor. I
And-
just don't even see the case in my system. I do see we were appointed, so that was probably the problem. So we will let you know what's going on, okay?
Is there any way I can try to,
Mr. Montalvo, I can't set any bonds for you today. I don't have a motion in front of me, so that has to be something that's filed by your lawyer, and Ms. Custon just indicated that she's gonna have someone come update you on what's going on. All right,
Okay.
sir?
One last question, Your Honor.
Yes,
before-
sir.
I'm sorry, 2 seconds. So, if the state does not file charges, how does that work? Like, do I go for a bond hearing or whatever?
You'll get relief. We'll answer all these questions. Thank you, Mr. Montalvo. You will
Thank
get
you, sir.
released if they file a no information. Okay.
God bless.
Thank you, sir.
I will never return back to where.
Ma'am, good morning. Your name? Ma'am?
Letha Wells.
You're Miss Wells?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Miss Wells, this is an out-of-county case out of Seminole County, 189968 MMA. You are going to enter a plea. To the offenses of petty theft and to possession of drug paraphernalia. Is that your understanding, ma'am?
Yes. It's misdemeanor. And it's a credit time serve offer.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So Ms. Wells is entering a plea to petty theft with one prior and possession of drug paraphernalia. The offer was an adjudication of guilt, 30 days in jail with credit for time served, and all costs are to be reduced to a judgment. And this plea agreement was approved by Judge Rex Seidler in Seminole County. Ms. Wells, you'd like to accept the offer?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you read the plea form before court this morning?
Did you go over it with your lawyer on video or in person? No.
But, I mean, I had talked to her the other day.
Yeah.
So, I had talked to her the other day, so she kind of told me what was going on.
All right, Ms. Wells, did you read the plea form?
Yes, yes. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
All right, do you have any questions about any of the rights that you're giving up?
No,
Are you on probation?
no, ma'am.
Do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen that this plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, I do.
Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would affect your ability to understand what's happening in court today?
No, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 30 days in jail with credit for 30 days time served. You will have to pay court costs, which will all be reduced to a judgment. You have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing, ma'am.
Sure.
Thank you.
Your Honor, next on the list is Jermaine Mickens, medical.
All right. Miss Custon, I'm going to have your office reset that plea. It's another out-of-county plea out of Taylor County. Judge Blue agreed to credit time served, and he's pleading to a driving while license suspended case. So I'll have your office reset that when he's cleared from medical, okay?
I'm coming over, Your Honor, for the 33-day motions and the other.
Okay.
Do we know when we're gonna reset?
PD to reset, the out-of-county plea? PD to reset, okay.
Are we doing the Portuguese interpreter? Or?
Oh. Yes, we are.
Okay.
So I'm assuming we're using the language line?
Yes.
Okay. Is there only one 30-day day? Sure. Sure. Oh, okay.
She's English, Spanish. Portuguese. Yeah? Okay.
This one.
Hitting here, yes?
No.
Good morning, is the interpreter on the line?
Yes. Hi, Your Honor. The name is Wesley.
All the case. This is 20 MM 5257. Good morning, ma'am. Please tell me your name.
Alô, minha senhora, a senhora pode me dizer o seu nome completo?
Desculpa, pode repetir?
A senhora pode me dizer o seu nome completo?
Completo, Yasmin Marques da Silva.
Did the interpreter hear her?
Yes. Yasmin Marques da Silva.
Ma'am, you were arrested for battery domestic violence.
A senhora foi presa por violência doméstica.
There is probable cause.
Tem uma causa provável.
I will appoint the public defender to represent you.
Eu vou indicar advogado público para representá-la.
Sir, good morning.
Good morning.
Sir, do you speak English?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to have contact with Miss De Silva?
Yes.
Are you afraid of her?
No.
Do you have any concerns about your safety if I were to allow contact between the two of you?
No.
Do you have any
Your
children?
Honor.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I apologize, but do you want me to translate this to the defendant?
I'm sorry, sir. Yes, please.
Oh, ok. Então, Yasmin, a primeira pergunta que ela fez foi: o senhor fala inglês? Sim, eu falo. Depois ela disse: o senhor quer ter contato com a dona Yasmin? Ele disse sim. Ela perguntou: o senhor tem medo da dona Yasmin? Ele disse não. And then you were saying, is there any concerns?
Yes. Sir, do you have any concerns about your safety if I were to allow contact between the two of you?
No.
O senhor tem alguma preocupação com a sua segurança ao estabelecer contato com ela? Não.
Miss Bush, did you have any questions for the witness?
Dona, a senhora tem alguma questão para a testemunha?
Sir, if something like this were to happen again, would you be comfortable calling law enforcement?
Yes.
Senhor, se alguma coisa desse tipo acontecer de novo, o senhor não teria problemas de chamar os órgãos da lei? Não.
Thank you.
There are no questions from the defense, Your Honor.
Okay.
Não há mais questões do defensor.
Miss De Silva,
Dona Jasmine,
you are not to have any hostile contact with your husband. Do you understand what that means?
a senhora não pode ter nenhum contato hostil com ele. A senhora entende o que quer dizer?
Sim.
Yes.
You are not to possess any weapons or firearms.
A senhora não tem direito de ter armas de fogo ou armamento.
I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time.
Eu vou lhe colocar numa liberação pré-julgamento, nesse momento.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Pineda, any questions?
No.
No. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Interpreter. That's all I have.
You're very welcome, Your Honor. You have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
All right, I'm just going to take a moment to read the case that Ms. Bush provided. I'm assuming the defense has a copy. Yes. Okay. Are you bringing Mr. De Los Santos?
Yes, I'm right here. Good morning.
Good afternoon, sir. This is 20MM 5252. You were arrested for criminal mischief. There's probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you, sir. Your bond is $500. You're not to return to the scene or have any contact with the victim. And I am going to revoke your release on your out on bond case. Bond in that matter is going to be set at none, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so I just gotta pay 500.
And you need to have your lawyer file a bond motion.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Your name? Sir?
Ralph Payton.
All right. How about Mr. Kosick?
He bonded, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Payton, good afternoon. You are here in 20MM 5247. You were arrested for petty theft. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Ms. Bush, are you making an offer on this case?
I am, Your Honor, with the knowledge that he has multiple theft convictions. And the offer is an adjudication of guilt, 5 days Orange County Jail, 2 days credit time served, no return to the Walmart on West Princeton, no contact with any witnesses, order and reserve restitution for a period of 60 days, abide by all trespass warnings and court costs.
Mr. Payton, the state's offer today is an adjudication of guilt, 5 days in jail. You have credit for 2 days time served. You can't return to the Walmart. You need to abide by the trespass warning. You can't have any contact with any of the victims or witnesses. And I'm going to order restitution and reserve as to the amount for 60 days. Did you want to accept the offer, sir?
Mm-hmm.
Pardon me?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Mr. Payton, can you speak into the microphone for me?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Did you have an opportunity to read the plea form?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about any of the rights on the form that you're giving up?
No, ma'am.
Are you on probation?
No.
Do you understand that if you're not a U.S. citizen, this plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would affect your ability to understand what's happening in court today?
No, ma'am.
All right, sir. I'm going to accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 5 days in jail. You have credit for 5 days time served. You do have to pay court costs. Those will be due by July 20th of 2021. I'll order and reserve restitution for 60 days. You are to abide by the trespass warning and not to have any contact with any of the witnesses. And you're not to return to the Walmart, sir. You have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing. Thank you, Mr. Payton. Good afternoon. Your name?
Adam Dixon.
Mr. Dixon, this is 20MO766. You were arrested for disorderly conduct. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Ms. Bush, is there an offer for Mr. Dixon?
Yes, Your Honor. It would be an adjudication of guilt, 2 days Orange County Jail, 2 days credit time served, and court costs.
All right. And then is there no return?
And no return, Your Honor,
Okay.
yes.
Mr. Dixon, did you want to accept the offer?
What was the offer, sorry?
It's an adjudication of guilt, 2 days in jail with 2 days credit time served and no return to the Lynx bus station.
Yep, I can accept that, yes.
Okay, sir. Did you read the plea form before court?
No. I don't believe so.
Get the form in your hand.
Right, okay.
Mr. Dixon, let me know when you're finished reading and if you have any questions.
Okay, I will do, thank you. That's on the floor, yeah. Jail, phone, 45 seconds. Okay, yes, I understand that. Thank you.
All right, sir. Are you
Yes.
on probation?
No, sir. No, ma'am.
Do you understand if you are not a U.S. citizen that this plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would affect your ability to understand what's happening in court today?
No, ma'am.
All right, sir, I'll accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in jail with credit for 2 days' time served. You are not to return to the Lynx bus station. You will have to pay court costs. Those will be due by July 20th of 2021. You have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Your name?
Susan Drury, ma'am.
Miss Drury, this is 20MO767. You were arrested for open container. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Ms. Bush, is there an offer for Ms. Drury?
Yes, Your Honor. It's a two-day credit time served offer with an adjudication of guilt and court costs.
Okay. Ms. Drury, the offer is 2 days with credit for 2 days. Did you want to accept the offer?
Yes, ma'am. Is there
All
any
right.
way that you could please de-6 my license because I'm unable to pay the court fines?
So, no, I'm not imposing any sort of restriction on your driver's license today. If you don't pay the court fines, though, eventually they will suspend your driver's license.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said you wanted to accept the offer.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you read the plea form before court?
No, ma'am, I don't have my glasses.
Okay. Ma'am, you understand by entering this plea, you're giving up your right to have a trial by a jury.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right. And you understand that you're giving up the right to put on any defenses to the charge?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And by entering the plea, you're saying that the state of Florida could prove the case against you?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you on probation?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen that this plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would affect your ability to understand what's happening in court today?
No, ma'am.
All right. I will accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in jail. You have credit for 2 days' time served. You will have to pay court costs. Those will be due by July 20th of 2021. You have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Drury.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Are you Mr. Holt?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Holt, you're here in 20MO768. You were arrested for open container. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there an offer for Mr. Holt?
Yes, Your Honor. It's an adjudication of guilt, 2 days Orange County Jail, 2 days credit time served, and court costs.
Mr. Holt, the offer is an adjudication of guilt and 2 days in jail with credit for 2 days. Did you want to accept?
Yes.
Did you read the plea form before court?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about any of the rights on the form?
Yes, ma'am.
What's your question? Mr. Holt, do you have a question about any of the rights
Oh,
on
no,
the
ma'am.
form
I
that
have
you're
no
giving up?
question. I understand my plea of guilt and 2 days' time served in jail.
All right, sir. Are you on probation?
And the court proceedings paid by a certain date.
Right. I'm asking you, are you on probation, Mr. Holt?
No? No, ma'am.
All right. Do you understand if you are not a U.S. citizen that this plea will subject you to deportation?
Excuse me, ma'am?
Do you understand if you are not a U.S. citizen that this plea will subject
Oh,
you
yes,
to
ma'am.
deportation? All right, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
And have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would affect your ability to understand what's happening in court today?
Yes, ma'am. And no, I have not taken any drugs.
All right. Mr. Holt, I'm going to accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in jail with credit for 2 days' time served. You will have to pay court costs, which will be due by July 20th of 2021. You have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Holt.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Your name?
Hi, LeGrand Birdsong, ma'am.
Mr. Birdsong, this is 20 CF 8685. You were arrested for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. There is
Yeah.
probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with the victim, and you're not to possess any weapons or firearms. You also have 20 MM 610. You were arrested for criminal mischief, for which there's also probable cause. You're not to return to the scene or have any contact with the victim. Bond on CF 8685 is going to be $2,500, and bond on the misdemeanor case will be $100.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Your name?
Walter Cabral, Your Honor.
Mr. Cabral, this is 20 CF 8671. You were arrested for burglary of a conveyance. There's probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you in both of your cases. You're not to return to the scene or have any contact with the victims. In 20 CF 8671, your bond is, well, actually, in both cases. You have also have 20 CF 8672, attempted burglary of a conveyance for which there's probable cause. And Mr. Cabral, I'm going to place you on pretrial release at
Thank
this
you.
time.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. That's what I was looking for.
All right.
All right, thank you. You have a great day.
You two, sir, same conditions, no return, no contact. Good afternoon, your name?
Good afternoon, ma'am. Jaquez Costin.
Mr. Hostin, you were here in 20 CF 8689. You were arrested for grand theft of a motor vehicle. There's
Yes.
probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you.
Excuse
Your
me.
bond is
Yes, ma'am.
Your bond is $1,000, sir. You're not to have any contact with the victim. And I'm revoking your pretrial release in 20 CT 27 and 20 MM 5049. Bond will be set at none.
But excuse me, ma'am. I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Did they
Sure.
foul on that one?
I'm not sure. I don't know. Ms. Bush, can you tell me if they filed an information in the misdemeanor case?
I'm looking now, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I told him my last one on my pre-trial release I got on the grant the automotive vehicle on the last one.
Your Honor. I'm looking to see if the Dwellis was by citation or not,
What about the misdemeanor?
but there has not been an information in that one filed, and 5049. And information has been filed in 2020 MM 5049 for resisting without violence and trespass in a conveyance.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bush. Yes, Mr. Costin, the state has filed an information in your case.
I'm talking about on the grant on the felony, ma'am.
No, you were just arrested on the grand theft today, so they wouldn't file on it today.
No, I'm talking about the last one I had just got out on.
It's not a felony, it's a misdemeanor.
Yes, ma'am. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Good afternoon, your name?
Stephen Courier.
Mr. Courier, you have 3 cases. I will appoint the public defender to represent you in all of them. 20 MM 5246, you were arrested for criminal mischief. There is probable cause. Bond is $100. You're not to return to the scene or have any contact with the victims. 20 MM 5245, you were arrested for criminal mischief. There is probable cause. Bond will be $100. You're not to have any contact with the victim or return to the scene. 20 CF 8675, you were arrested for aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer with a deadly weapon, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and resisting officer without violence. There is probable cause for those offenses. You are not to have any contact.
Excuse me.
Oh, excuse me, I'm not done. You have to wait
Okay.
till I'm done speaking.
Put the mask over you.
You're not to return to the scene, sir. Bond on count 1 is 5,000, bond on count 2 is 150, bond on count 3 is 100. Mr. Courier, did you have a question?
Yeah, I have a few. May I ask them?
Go ahead.
Thank you. On the third case where there was resisting without violence but aggravated battery or whatever on a Leo, isn't that technically a contradiction?
So
It cannot
that
be
would be a
possible.
question, so sir, that would be a question for your lawyer. I can't give you any legal advice.
Oh. I wasn't asking for the advice. I was just stating that those two
But
can't
again,
possibly
that's an
exist.
argument that your lawyer would have to make, and you need to raise it with your lawyer. I have found probable cause for each of the offenses as stated in the affidavit. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, your name?
Kenneth Lee Davis Jr.
Mr. Davis, this is 20 CF 8677. You were arrested for possession of cocaine. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond is $1,000, sir, and I'm not going to revoke your bond. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, your name? Sir, your name?
Kevin Hayes.
How about Mr. Fennell?
He's medical, Your Honor.
He's medical?
Medical? Yes.
All right, that's 20 CF 8690. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent Mr. Fennell. Do you want to waive his appearance, Mr. Matos?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, he was arrested for possession of ecstasy and tampering with physical evidence. There is probable cause. I'm going to release him on his own recognizance at this time. He's not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription. Mr. Hayes, you were here in 20 CF 8673. You were arrested for attempted first-degree murder with a firearm and attempted aggravated battery with a firearm. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Ms. Bush, did you want to be heard with respect to bond?
Yes, Your Honor. The state would ask the court to take into consideration the sworn arrest affidavit, which contains facts from multiple witnesses, including the observation of surveillance video, which does put the vehicle that Mr. Hayes and his companions were in, and does show Mr. Hayes at the scene. The state would ask the court to find that those facts give rise to proof evident or presumption great that Mr. Hayes, who by his own admission took his Taurus and did fire the weapon. The victims state that they were fired upon. Mr. Hayes states that he fired in the air, but the state would ask the court to find that proof is evident or presumption is great that Mr. Hayes did fire the weapon during an altercation with the victims and hold him at no bond for count 1, attempted first-degree murder with a firearm.
Mr. Matos?
Your Honor, apart from the fact that Mr. Hayes explicitly said that he shot the weapon in the air, there is no actual evidence that says that he's fired at other people and at the defendants. Therefore, I would request from the court to set reasonable bond.
So you're asking the court to find that there is not proof evident or presumption, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you have an updated face sheet for Mr. Hayes? Mine seems to have come back before his prints were cleared, I think. Why is he on as a violent felony offender of special concern?
It's just due to the charge.
It what?
Due to the charge.
It couldn't be. He would need to be on probation or have some sort of other hold.
It was deleted.
Because he doesn't have any criminal history. Okay. All right, that's enough. Thank you. I don't find based upon the affidavit alone that there is proof evident or presumption great for count one. So I'm going to set bond for Mr. Hayes. Mr. Hayes,
Yes.
where do you live, sir?
I stay in Mascot, Florida.
How long have you lived there?
About 3 months.
Where did you live before that?
I stayed here, but in Altamont.
Okay. How long have you lived in Florida?
I've been here pretty much half my life.
So about 12 years, 15 years?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you have family here?
Yes, I do.
Who's here?
My mother, just my initial family.
Your mom and who else?
My sister.
Anybody else?
No.
No?
No.
Do you work?
Yes, ma'am.
Where do you work?
It's a company called Cherry Lake.
It's a landscaping service?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you worked there?
About 3 months.
What's your take-home pay per week?
Anywhere between 4 and maybe 500, depending.
Mr. Hayes, did the police take the weapon last night?
Yes.
Do you have any other weapons at your home? I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry.
No, ma'am.
Do you have a passport?
No, ma'am.
Bond on count one is going to be at $30,000. Bond on count two will be $2,500. Mr. Hayes, you are not to have any contact with any of the victims. You are not to return to the scene. You are not to possess any weapons or any firearms.
All right.
All right, that's all, Mr. Hayes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Your Honor, next on the list is Macon Medical.
All right. This was a warrant arrest in 20 CF 8694. Mr. Matos, I'll appoint your office. Do you want to waive the appearance?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Bond on count one will be set at $2,500. Bond on count two will be $150. No contact with the victim, no possession of weapons or firearms. Good afternoon. Your name, sir?
William Mays.
Mr. Mays, this is 20 CF 8680. You were arrested for possession of ecstasy. There's probable cause. I am going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond, sir, is going to be $500. You're not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription, and I'm not going to revoke your release, sir, at this time. Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Daniel McDormand.
Mr. McDormand, this is 20 CF 8695. You were arrested for purchase of cocaine, possession of a controlled substance, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Ms. Bush, I didn't see any facts to indicate that he had purchased the cocaine. I do find probable cause in counts 2 and 3.
And Your Honor, I also do not see the purchase, but I believe that that statute is, the state would ask the court to find possession of cocaine. As to count 1, the count 2 possession of a controlled substance would be the fentanyl. And then the paraphernalia. So the state would ask the court to find possession of cocaine.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Bush. Mr. Matos, did you want to be heard?
Your Honor, I did see the fentanyl in there. I see the possession of a controlled substance. I guess the possession of a controlled substance, I figured it meant both the things. That's what's within the affidavit. Therefore, I wouldn't like, the charge was not possession of cocaine, if not purchase and possession of cocaine. I would like the purchase to actually be removed. I did not find probable cause for either.
Yes. Yes, that's what Ms. Bush has requested as well. So I'll find probable cause in count 1 for possession of cocaine, and then probable cause for possession of a controlled substance and possession of drug paraphernalia. Mr. McDormand, you're not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription, sir. You're to contact your lawyer within 24 hours of your release from the jail. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance at this time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Have a blessed day.
You too.
Your Honor, next on the list is McCaffey. He's behavior.
Okay. I'm going to find a waiver of his appearance based upon his inability to come to court due to his behavior in 20 CF 8692. I will appoint the public defender's office to represent him. He was arrested for 4 counts of aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer with a firearm. There is probable cause for each of the offenses. He's not to possess any weapons or firearms. Any firearms that he may have in his home need to be surrendered to the sheriff's department within 6 hours of his release from custody. Bond on count 1 is $5,000. Bond on count 2 through 4 will be $150.
Next on the list is Mark Phillip, bonded.
Okay. Good afternoon. Are you Mr. Rivera?
Good afternoon. Jimmy Javier Cruz Rivera.
Yes, sir. You are here in 20 CF 8684. You were arrested for possession of cocaine. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond is $1,000. I'm also going to order that you're not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription, and you will be tested randomly through pretrial release, sir.
Okay.
And I'm not going to revoke your pretrial release given the fact that I added the random urinalysis condition to the new law offense. So I took into consideration the conditions of release on the new case. Mr. Rogers bonded?
He bonded, Your Honor. Scott Bedell also bonded.
Okay.
Kirk Smith, behavior.
I'm going to find a waiver of Mr. Smith's appearance in 20 CF 8683. He was arrested for aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and resisting officer without violence. I'll appoint the public defender to represent him. There is probable cause for each of the offenses. Does not have any contact with the victim or possess any weapons or firearms. It's also not to return to the scene. Bond on count 1 is $3,500. Bond on count 2, $150. Bond on count 3, $100.
Priscilla Stanley, refused court.
20 CF 8688, I'm going to find a waiver of Ms. Stanley's appearance based upon her refusal to come to court. She was arrested for possession of cocaine and possession of drug paraphernalia. There is probable cause, and I'll appoint the public defender to represent her. I'm going to release her on her own recognizance at this time. Good afternoon, sir. Tell me your name, please.
Stewart, Your Honor.
What is your name?
Stewart. Winston Stewart.
Mr. Stewart, this is 20 CF 8679. You were arrested for possession of MDMA greater than 10 grams and possession of oxycodone. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription. I am going to place you on pretrial release at this time with random urinalysis. Bond on count 1 will be set at $5,000. Bond on count 2 will be $150. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. Your name?
Matthew Thomas.
Mr. Thomas, this is 20 CF 8687. You were arrested for aggravated battery with a firearm, 2 counts, possession of a firearm and the commission of a felony, tampering with physical evidence, and resisting officer without violence. There is probable cause for the offenses. I will appoint the public defender to represent you, sir.
Okay.
Bond on count 1 is going to be $10,000. Bond on count 2 is $10,000. Bond on count 3, $150, 4, $150, 5, $100. You are not to have any contact with the victims or witnesses in this case. You are not to possess any weapons or any firearms, sir.
Okay. I got a question. So I won't have any holes or anything. I could just bond out, correct?
Just a moment, sir.
Excuse me.
Bond on count 1 is actually 25,000. Bond on count 2 is 10,000. Mr. Thomas?
You said 25?
25,000 on count 1. Mr. Thomas, I don't see any other holds, so if you don't have any other holds after you post your bond, you would be released.
Okay, but so this affidavit, I don't know if she can see this. So this is wrong, what they charged, I mean.
Correct.
Okay.
So when it came in, are you talking about a fugitive hold? Is that what you're talking about?
No, because I was trying to bond out, but the lady said, I guess I had to come and see you first, whatever the case may be. But
Correct. For what you were arrested for, you have to see a judge before you can bond out. So there was a mistake made when you came in.
okay, so, all right, okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You welcome.
And Your Honor, count 2 was 1,000 or 10,000?
10,000.
10, thank you.
You're on the next on the list, Heron, Trammell, mental health.
Okay, what about Miss Bledsoe?
I have Bledsoe right here, come on, Bledsoe.
Oh, okay. So Mr. Herron is mental health.
Yes.
That's 17 CF 14746. It's a violation of probation. I will appoint the public defender's office to represent him. Mr. Matos, do you want to waive the appearance?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. There's 15 CF 5346, 15 CF 5725. Those are all violations of probation. Bond will remain at none. And then in 20 MM 5248, he was arrested for resisting officer without violence. There's probable cause. Bond is $500. And in 20 CF 8682, he was arrested for tampering with physical evidence. There's probable cause. Bond is $100 or $150. And 20 MO 765, open container. There's probable cause, and I'll ROR him in that case. All right, Ms. Bledsoe, good afternoon. You're here on a violation of probation in 18 CF 10728. I will appoint the public defender to represent you.
Okay.
It alleges that you failed to make yourself available to supervision and that you failed to successfully complete an anger management program within 60 days of your order.
Yes. Can I speak, ma'am?
Well, ma'am, I don't want you to talk to me about the facts of your case because everything is recorded and I can't have a hearing on the violations today. I've appointed the public defender's office to represent you so you can explain whatever defenses that you may have to the violations of probation. This is currently set bond at none. You'll see Judge Whitehead in the next 7 to 10 days, ma'am.
7 to 10 days?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Walk up. Right to the speaker. There you go.
Good afternoon. Are you Mr. Walker?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Walker, you have 2 cases this afternoon. I will appoint the public defender to represent you on both. You've got 19 CF 10934. You were arrested for a violation of probation for failing to report to the bridge. Your bond is set at none. I will appoint the public defender, as I said, and you're going to see Judge Whitehead in the next 7 to 10 days, sir.
I think that's him too.
Oh.
He got an alias.
Oh, these 2? Oh, wait, Mr. Walker, you have 2 other cases. 20 CF 1520, I'm going to revoke the bond on that case. That'll be set at none. And then you have 20 MM 520, you were arrested for petty theft and providing false ID to law enforcement. There's also probable cause for those offenses. Your bond is $500, sir. You're not to return to the scene. Petty theft. Oh, bond on count 1 will be 100, bond on count 2 will be 500. Thank you.
Okay, which one?
It's got. Your Honor, next on the list is Orthane Huey, medical.
All right, this is an out-of-county warrant from Hillsborough County.
Yeah, Huey.
Bond is set at $2,000. I'll appoint the public defender here in Orange County to assist in the event that he can't post bond or Hillsborough County does not come pick him up. And are you Mr. Walton? Or, I'm sorry, Mr. Huey?
Mr. Huey is medical, Your Honor.
He's medical, Your Honor.
Okay, there, are we done?
We just have Figueroa, the one.
Thank you,
The
okay.
interpreter.
Yes, sir, thank you. I saw the other defendant behind you and I was confused. So Mr. Huey has 2 cases. He has the Hillsborough County case and the Walton County case. In the Walton County case, his bond is set at none. And I'll appoint the public defender to represent him in that case to assist in coordinating with Walton County. No, he's medical. And then Mr. Figueroa, where did I say? It was up here, wasn't it? I said, I'm gonna set this right here. So. I just have a report. For Figueroa, he was the reset from this morning, remember the, out of county damage done? Right here.
The order, yeah. It's just the order, I don't have.
He was your Spanish interpreter from this morning?
Yes, yep, I have it right here. This is fine.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This is Flavia Rodriguez, the certified court interpreter previously sworn in today.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. I just have one case that I need your help with. Sir, good
Your
afternoon.
Honor, the defendant is indicating that he can hear me.
Great, thank you. And Ms. Figueroa, this is an out-of-county case. I can give you the out-of-county case number if you need that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
It's 183146 CFA. And it's
Thank
a
you.
Seminole County matter. Sir, good afternoon. Tell me your name, please.
Christian Figueroa Vasquez.
Sir, you are here for an out-of-county warrant out of Seminole County.
Okay.
This is related to a violation of probation.
Okay.
At this time, your bond is set at none.
Okay.
I will appoint the public defender here in Orange County to assist you with your case.
Okay.
We will also reach out to the judge in Seminole County
Okay.
to see if they would like to make any modifications to your bond.
Okay.
Once we hear back, you will be returned to court and we will let you know what their decision was.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Figueroa. That's all, or Ms. Rodriguez. That's all I have.
That's it.
You're very welcome, Your Honor. Have a good afternoon.
You too.